did you know that only 9% of plastic is currently recycled? This indicates a dire need for change, not eliminate plastic because it is necessary for so many products. And as you'll learn in this upcoming interview, actually has the lower carbon footprint for making beverages than aluminum and glass. But we want to, through Eric, what our upcoming guest is going to talk about, enhance recycling efforts. The most efficient way or effective way to increase recycling is through incentivizing consumer behavior. And we would think, who needs to be incentivized to save the earth? Evidently, we do. It is not happening. We know about the plastic island, the mass of plastic in the Pacific Ocean that surpasses the size of France, Greece, Italy, Portugal, and Spain combined. There are over 500 billion plastic bags produced annually. Obviously, we have a crisis where plastics could soon outnumber fish in our oceans. Did you guys know 100,000 marine animals die from plastic every 12 months? 88% of the ocean's surface is polluted by plastic waste. 88%. 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic are in our ocean. 168,125 tons per square kilometer of plastic is in our oceans, and 33% of all fish caught contain plastic. 33% of all fish caught contain plastic. I don't know what percentage of that I'm eating or what plastic was cleaned out of the fish that I'm eating, but I'm not happy about that. Eric Schaffner and his company Zeloop are looking for and have come up with an amazing solution to help get plastic off the ground, out of the ocean, and to recycling. This is a huge, huge effort, and it is just beginning. I'm really excited to understand what Eric and Zeloop are doing. Listen in, you guys. Let me know what you think. And if at the end you're interested in doing anything, get in there and let's do it. We got to get rid of this stuff.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Welcome back to Money with Mission, you guys. We are having today Eric Schaffner. And when you hear Eric start talking, you're going to know that, number one, he has an accent. You're probably going to be going, I don't want you to spend the next 5 minutes trying to figure out where his accent is from. So let's just put it out there. Eric is from France, and he's actually speaking to me from France. But we are talking about, I would love to talk about France and all the food and all that kind of stuff, but we're not going to go there. We're going to talk about what Eric and his company Zeloop is doing to help rid our planet of plastic and the problems that plastics are causing for our planet. Welcome to the show, Eric. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you tonight.
Thank you. Eric and I have had a couple of missteps, and we finally are getting together. So we gave each other a hand for making it today. It's been a challenge, which a lot of times podcasts are. Eric, how did you get to caring, actually? Let's start there. Let's talk about the planet, because I know people walk around and they don't even think about it a lot of times. And maybe Europeans think more, I don't know. But how did this become a thing for you?
I think it's a gradual thing. So I've always been educated to not to litter or things like that, but it was a bit natural and so on. I also come from an area where there's quite a bit of discipline, where people usually don't look after a bit the street and so on and so. But after I worked many years in the packaging industry, providing machines, complete line to produce beverage lines, so plastic lines where you create the plastic bottle and then you fill with beverage and so on, but also glass line, can lines and so on. So always been in contact with the industry, and I could see the growing concern about the impact. I think we all come from, the development of the society and so on. The plastic has been and is still a material that is very useful. And what people don't know, actually, when it comes to bring beverage, for instance, to a consumer, is the less impactful material, because glass is heavy, It takes higher heat temperature to melt and so on. Aluminium cans, the production of aluminium is not very eco-friendly, consume a lot of energy and oil, water, and so on. So there's not ideal packaging, but against the common knowledge, plastic had the lowest carbon footprint. Nevertheless, unfortunately, plastic, because it's cheap, ends everywhere because we don't dispose it of properly and so on. So it ends up in nature and that it has consequences and so on. So I could see that a growing concern in the industry. And as a private investor, I invested in a startup that developed a solution for social impact, a blockchain reward engine to apply for an app for social impact. So I just invested a bit because I was curious. I wanted to know more about blockchain and what we can do about it, because we hear it's a fantastic technology that could revolutionize many things and so on. But okay, you read the media, but what is it about? So put it hands on. It's better. It's sometimes easier. So I followed the startup and so on. And then I say, well, seeing the growing concern on my industry, and say, well, why don't we use that fantastic idea to also do environmental impact? Because it concerns all of us and concerns our children and not only plastic, but what we do with our planet is important. We have only one planet. There's not a plan B about that. So it would be good to also contribute to a better world. And then started to think about it, and then did a bit of survey on the potential, where we could fit that solutions and how we will articulate that to be meaningful also and to help the cause. And then quite rapidly, we came up with that idea and say, okay, let's create value for the waste, because when you analyze the plastic issue, it's a lot the problem of value. I always like to ask, would you litter with gold? Of course not. You know, I've been asking the question for many years now and haven't found anybody saying that, yes, I do litter with gold. Otherwise I will do their trash.
Let me ask you a couple questions, because you said a lot of things. Because you said that making plastic has a lower carbon footprint than producing glass and other containers that we use. Did I hear
not
you say that
systematically? I was specific to when it comes to bring a beverage in a container to consumer. So if I want to bring soft drink, water in places where you don't have access to clean water, if at home you have good water, there's no point to put that in a plastic bottle. But if there are many places in the world where access to safe water is not granted, and you need to carry your water. And if you want to carry all those things, juices, milk, and so on, then you need a container, and then you have choice. You can get the beverage in a can. You can have the beverage in a glass bottle or in a plastic bottle or in a carton also.
Yeah.
Less common for some beverage, but very common for juices and so on. And each of these packaging has advantages and disadvantages. When you study the carbon footprint, cradle to cradle, so from the moment you extract the resources to make that packaging until it goes back to square one for the next container, when you do that full life cycle analysis, then a plastic bottle has a lower carbon footprint than a glass bottle or a can, for different reasons, like I was mentioning.
Okay. So I think that's news to me. Okay, a lot, because I thought glass was better. And it's like, that's just how I thought about it. So that makes sense now why there's so much plastic and why there's going to be a hard time to get companies to not use plastic. Probably it's cheaper. Plus they can say, well, it's a smaller carbon footprint than if I used glass or I use some of these other things. Got it. And then I think I got thrown off when you threw in the blockchain with the talking about plastics and all that. Explain that part again, where that came into the whole situation.
Yeah. First, let's see what is about blockchain. Blockchain is, to our listener, it's to simplify, is a ledger of transaction. And the difference with traditional ledger of transaction, like if you pay with your credit cards, it goes to the center, the server of Visa, MasterCard, or whoever is handling those credit cards and so on. It's very centralized. You have no access to it. It's super efficient and so on because it has been developed in the masses and so on. But it's very centralized. You have no control. It's a black box, I would say, to the outsiders. The blockchain is a technology that where every transaction, you will encrypt that transaction, and that encryption will be shared to different computers that are decentralized, and each computer will have to run algorithm to crack that code and determine what is the unique address and so on, and then validate the transaction. So whoever has mined, that's what the term, the code guarantees the transaction, the other validates that, yes, confirm that is. It's a validation system that is decentralized, so less risk for compromising it, to hack it, to manipulate, and so on. So it has, and then when that transaction is coded and it's formed as a block that is attached to the previous chain of blocks that have been validated, is what we call blockchains. It means also that each block has a particularity that is attached in a way that to the others with some links with the addresses have. So that you can't, if you compromise one block, you will compromise the whole chain. So it's that offers traceability, immutability, transparency, and so on. And all those assets can be interesting. We don't use our own blockchain. We tap on the existing blockchain. We just use the service of the blockchain, but we adapt the technology to our case. In our case, the root cause, when you look at the root cause, one of the root causes, there are many reasons why we end up with plastic all over the place and unfortunately destroying our planet is. But one of the major reasons is value. Again, if they had value, you will not throw away. So the idea we thought is, okay, what can we do to create value or waste? So we could do it without blockchain. Let's say you can find in some countries or in some states, it's coming also in US deposit scheme. So basically, they add to the price of your container a premium, and you get that premium back if you return your container.
Yes.
But it's not a reward. It's an incentive because it's more a penalty. It works as a penalty because if you don't bring it, you lose that money that was embedded, that you already paid. If you bring it, you just reclaim the money you paid at the first place. You earn if you collect the bottle of your neighbor that doesn't claim for his deposit, and then you claim it for yourself. But there's no value creation whatsoever. But one could imagine the same system where you bring some value to the container or to the plastic, and so that can after create the sense of, hey, that has value. Why I will litter? So we have created an open voluntary deposit scheme, but there is no deposit upfront by the consumer. We are giving a utility token, the Eco Rewards, which is our token that can be traded against US dollar digital. So, and that is where the magic is somewhere is we have minted those Eco Rewards. We distribute them free of charge through our application or through our third-party application because we do white label on the same principles. It's given to the user, and then the user can redeem those Eco Rewards against goods and services for benefits that others are willing to give. Because they want to be on the sustainability movement, because they want marketing, acquisition, and so on, and they create value.
Oh, okay. You said a lot, so I want to make sure everybody's up on the same up with you. So, bottom line, you asked me if you said one of the reasons people don't think about littering sometimes because with plastic is because it doesn't have any value. You wouldn't throw gold out your window. You wouldn't throw your quarters out your window. You wouldn't throw your dollar bills or whatever those things are out of the things that are valuable to you out of your window and just let them go. So you're giving plastic value beyond the money you might have to pay. So in California, you got 5 cents. You pay an extra 5 cents for your bottles or cans or whatever, and you get that back if you take them back. In some states, there's not that. You can just buy them and throw them out the window and nobody's going to care and, whatever. But what you're doing with your company, Zeloop, is giving those things value so that we want people to feel like I'm throwing something away. This thing means something, and I can use this as a means of transfer, getting something once I recycle it. Yes?
Yes. Absolutely. And then there's the unit, and is where the blockchain takes place, is that I could have given the money directly, but I don't have that money. As a company, obviously, if we produce billions of bottles, if I had to give half a cent per half a dollar per, which is the value that we managed to create for a bottle, if I had to give that cash, obviously I will bankrupt in no time. I'm very convincing, and I've got all the governments in the world give me that kind of money, and they will say, well, why do we give that money to Eric to take care of that? Eric and his company to take care of that. I have to be very convincing for that. So obviously it's not going to happen that way. So with the blockchain, we can create that unit that is common. If I'm Mongolia, I can earn eco rewards. If I'm in US, I can earn eco rewards. If I'm going Africa, in France, wherever you are, you will earn eco rewards that we provide for every single bottle. That is to prevent littering, because we create value. We also give eco rewards in the app when people just go on a clean walk and collect trash. And then we give eco rewards for the steps that I have completed, provided they have collected trash. And then we find partner companies that are willing to sponsor with their marketing effort and so on. And they say, okay, well, for me, I'm happy to give 10% discount. So we have companies that give between 10 to 50% discount. In US, we don't have native US companies, but we have some companies that deliver to US, not yet enough, but we'll come to that, how we address that difficulty. But for those who are part of the marketplace, I've got some partners that value the bottle as an end result in terms of purchasing power. They don't give cash, but they give, 10 to 15% discount. And that 10 to 15% discount is valued at the level of $0.50 per bottle. Okay. So I've got Taily, for instance, is a sustainable sneaker, a very cool sneakers. You can have $5 discount vouchers or $10 discount voucher by just collecting 10 bottles or 20 bottles. Simple as that. You collect that to get the rewards necessary for that.
Let's go back to how the cycle happens, because I think people might have missed that.
Yep.
The company Zeloop is an app. It's an app for that, right?
I would say it's a platform. It's a platform because Zeloop is just one example that we have done. We have created a reward engine that has the capability to create a blockchain wallet automatically. You don't need to be tech savvy or whatsoever. When you download Zeloop, as a demonstration, it was the app that we wanted to focus on plastic. And so when you register, automatically we create a blockchain wallet for you. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it's the reality. We have created a blockchain wallet for you. Every time that you will earn eco rewards, or every time that you will redeem those eco rewards, those transactions are taken out from and to your wallet by your reward engine automatically. So within the app, it looks like a point system, but the reality, it's a blockchain system.
Got it. Now, how do people, and I'm going to call it cryptocurrency, or the rewards in their app, what do they have to do? Because I'm not sure people are connecting the dots from bottles in the earth and how do I get this money?
Yeah. So we have defined our ecosystem that we want to support is that the eco rewards is the utility token supporting eco-friendly gestures. So any solution that is eco-friendly, that wants to incentivize individuals, can qualify to be on our platform. And then we can either connect to our reward engine or even do the app. We have done an app for a client in US called New Bean in Pennsylvania, where they reward any plastic collection. In Zeloop, people earn eco rewards when they collect plastic bottles. Very simple. First stage, they will have to map any collection point that exists in their neighborhood. So it can be bin for segregation of plastic in a supermarket. It can be their own bin if it's a segregation of plastic. They travel, they see a bin that is designed for plastic and so on. They take a picture of that bin. We record the GPS coordinates. We check that is a bin for segregating plastic. And then we validate. Within 24 hours, that bin is active. And then you can start to earn. How to earn is very easy. You come to those collection points that have been mapped. We have 7,000 points in 60 countries now, organic mapping by the community. So I come with my bottle and then I just have to take a picture. You can only open that declaration screen because you are next to a point that has been mapped.
Got it.
There, I open the screen, I take a picture of all the bottles. If it's from 1 to 10, you show that is 5 bottles, you take a picture and declare 5. We check after with our system that there are 5 bottles on the picture, and then you're rewarded 100 eco rewards per bottle. If you don't want to you have a lot of bottles, you don't want to do 10 by 10 by 10, you can do I feel lucky. You take a single picture of the whole bulk. Then after, we will evaluate manually or visually, estimate our team are used to, and they will give you in excess sometime, a bit less sometime. This is why I feel lucky. And then you have a bulk eco rewards. If you go on clean walk, you register for a duration, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. You go start on your phone, put in the phone in your pocket. You can walk, collect trash. At the end of the session, you take a picture of the trash. We just checked that there was trash, and then it's validating the session, and you earn eco rewards for all the steps that you have performed during the collection. It's simple as that.
For that one, you collect based on your steps. I want to go back to the plastic. If I recycle from home, and so I have my bin at home, I just go on the app, verify that this is a plastic bin, and now it's ready to go. It's been, you guys do your thing. And now when I put things in there, or at the end of the week, when I'm about to put it out to be recycled, I'll take a picture of it all and somebody guesstimates how much is in there, and we go from there. My rewards are put automatically into my wallet on the app. Now I can use those rewards to participate in commerce with companies that you guys have worked out deals with. Yes?
Absolutely. And we are constantly looking for more partners, obviously, to give more benefits for the user. And it's where, again, the blockchain and the crypto element comes into place. We are a small team, so we can't have partnership with all the vendors in the world. So obviously, there are some places where our vendors don't reach the user, but it can, at least there's also a possibility to stack your tokens in the app and eventually send them to your private wallet. And then you can trade them against US dollar digital. It has less value than when you redeem against a voucher and so on, but at least it has a value. And the bet that we do is that growing the community, growing the traction on the whole system, that value will also grow because you start to have more transaction, more swapping and so on. And then all those who have stacked, and now in the area where the marketplace doesn't bring anything that they like, they can at least convert it and create a value. And in some places already with the little value of the eco rewards, if you give 100 eco rewards per bottle, you collect 100 bottles, 1,000 bottles, you can buy a drink, buy food, if you, again, for example, if you are in Mongolia, where the purchasing power is low, maybe with 1,000 bottles, you can have a meal. Just the value of the eco rewards as it is today.
Yes. So in a lot of places in the United States, there is a recycling center. So I recycle and I put my stuff out on the curb. Is that, and I've heard that a lot of those things are not actually recycled. They actually end up in the plastic island, or it becomes a big issue as far as how recycling is happening. Is that true? And are my things truly being recycled? I know you don't necessarily know the answer, but what percentage of things that we think are recycled are actually recycled, especially when it comes to plastic?
It's a very good question. So obviously, every country has its different performance. In US, it's even more complex because each state manages differently the waste. So it's difficult to generalize. Also, on top of this, I'm not in US, but I've got clients in US. I've got my product manager living in US and so on. So it's not also unknown situation. What is well known in US is that you still have a possibility for landfilling waste and so on. So yes, unfortunately, it happens that even if you have sorted your trash and so on upstream, it may end up in landfill or not properly recycled. After, there's also a reason, even if in places where you have a good treatment system, you always have some loss in the process because sometimes it's difficult to separate the plastic, sometimes it's too dirty, too damaged, and so on. But we can't, with our approach, we are not going to solve the whole problem. And that is why the problem is very complex. Ideally, the plastic should be in a circular loop where you don't extract any more fossil fuels to make the plastic. And when you make a bottle, for bottle, it's possible. For some plastic, it is not possible because some plastic are not recyclable yet. But when it's possible, even in that situation, is not yet 100% efficient. But ideally, it could be done, or technically, it could be done. The ideal would be, let's say, if I do a plastic bottle, we can do bottle to bottle.
Okay.
I make a bottle, I consume, it goes back to recycling and make the next bottle.
Comes a bottle again. Okay.
So there are some difficulties on that and so on, but it's possible. When you look at that loop, basically all the stakeholders have their own responsibility. The industry, the producer have a responsibility to design products so it becomes more easy to separate and to recycle, to reduce the amount of plastic that you use to reach a certain function and so on. Consumers have a responsibility is that when they have consumed, is at least to put it in the bin so it has a chance to be recycled and not to litter, because there's no chance for that. Once it has been collected, there's a responsibility so that it's properly recycled and not dumped in the landfill or so sent abroad for lousy waste management and so on, and back to the loop. In Zeloop, we're small, we can't take care of all the problem of that giant loop, very complex and so on. We focus on consumer behavior.
Gotcha.
I want just to change the mindset, change behavior, because there's one moment, a tipping point where the consumer is key. When you have consumed, and that applies to plastic, but we can generalize to any product that we consume. You have basically only two options. Either you throw it away, you litter, or you bring it to a place where it has a chance to be recycled or repurposed or reused and whatsoever. So that is that moment. And that moment we want to influence. So they say, hey, why I won't throw that away? It has value. And our ancient, it's not long time ago, but before the Industrial Revolution, in the 19th century, no later than that, in the 20th century, in many countries, and nowadays in also plenty places, when things have value, you try to in the past, we were not throwing away made things, you do things with glass, with metal, and we use every piece of metal, and you redo the next tool when it's worn and so on. And we have changed the paradigm after the Second World War, where we had the boom, the profusion, the petrol arrived, and we moved to a consumption society where we've been told to say, well, if it's broken, throw it away. We do another one. It's okay if you throw it away. It's cheap. We lost that common sense with a consumer, with consumerism. And now we just have to go back to good sense and obviously improve our impact on that.
I love it. I think I like that you're talking about the Zeloop's job. What we are here to do is to change consumer behavior. We want plastics to at least get into a bin to be recycled.
Exactly.
We can think through all the rest of that life cycle if we want to, but if we get that part started, more people recycle plastic, the rest will probably come because all this plastic is here. We've got to do something with it. Now manufacturers will do better. More bottles will go back to bottles again. More things will happen. Less cities will put the stuff in the landfill. Less of all that stuff is going to happen, especially if
that's what happened. Yeah.
And when the tokens become a bigger, that's all things. To me, that's something even cities can use as a way to incentivize themselves. That's a big thing. The whole blockchain, cryptocurrency token, that part is huge. I think that's the linchpin of it, and how
it's huge, providing that you have the utility. Blockchain is criticized because there's often with new technology, you have smart people who understand how to make quick money, and
yes,
you have speculation entering in the game, and then obviously speculation means that you have a little portion of people who will make a lot of money, and a lot of people who will lose little or
money. Yes.
more money.
Yes.
But it's a balance because the money is earned on one side that has to be generated by someone else. So anyway, But it applies not only on blockchain, stock exchange and so on. Often the value is disconnected to reality.
Yes.
It's good to have a bit of speculation because that obviously supports the value and since we want to redistribute that value. But that is where is interesting with the blockchain is that whatever value that is created is distributed to the stakeholders. The main stakeholders of the system are the people who are preventing littering by returning their plastic and curating existing littering by doing clean work and so on. We reward them for them. And whatever value is created within the ecosystem is primarily distributed to them. So after good for the whole community and so on, if there's a bit of traction and so on, when people want to support and so on, and that support obviously the value. But we have done very little marketing on the tokens, very little effort on that and so on. Is the value is more purely organic. And we have focused on energy to build things that are tangible in the real world. We give reward, there's an app. And we're back to the early definition of the cryptocurrency. You have the big coins like Bitcoins, Ethereum, and so on. They are act as a currency, decentralized. But then you have all what we call altcoin, and they are classified as utility token.
Okay.
In utility token, you hear utility. And unfortunately, in many tokens, there's, last time I checked, I think on CoinMarketCap, there was like 28,000 tokens that have been created.
Yes.
95% of those tokens have not yet a project behind, or will never have a project because they are scams and people just try to make a nice story behind and try to get quick bucks and walk away with their money. Only 5%, 10% have a utility or have an ecosystem that use it properly. We are part of that, but we focus on that, having a utility. With not utility, there's no future.
Yeah.
And the crypto winter is good because it's cleaning also those dodgy projects.
How many countries is Zeloop available, or can people participate in this?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Worldwide. From day one is worldwide. It's been rolled out in July 20. You can download it everywhere on the stores. Like I said, obviously, you may be in an area where there's when you open the map, you will see no deposit point, but you as a user will start to map.
You can start one.
And if you live in an area where there's no infrastructure, you can already start your journey by collecting any trash and be rewarded for the steps.
Okay. Is there a country at this point that is more using it more than others? Is there some place that?
Yes,
that's an example.
Yes, that is first. We launched the company. We're in the United States of Emirates. So we have worked with brands like Nestle, Dettol, and then they supported. Obviously, we did some challenges for them and so on, and then obviously that made some good acquisition. So we have a larger user base in the UAE. We have a partner in France, and we have an ambassador that is a garbage collector working for the city of Paris, but he's an influencer for pushing people for cleaning the streets and so on. And he has a TikTok account of 200,000 followers and so on. So very visible in France on all the media. This summer, we did a walk for 800 kilometers from Paris to south of France, Marseille. We collected 15 tons of trash with him.
Wow.
So obviously then we have more people in France, we have people in US. And so Nigeria, we start to have a good user base in Nigeria. We have a partner that does a great work. We look for a representative that say, well, I've got a network, I've got time, I like what you do. I will push Zeloop in my country and so on. And then we do an agreement and we support the local representative. So in Nigeria, our representative is very active. We have one in India also, where we did some projects earlier last year now. Argentina is a special case because our partner has been asked to collect also the plastic. So normally we don't collect by ourselves. User bring the plastic to any existing infrastructure. In Argentina, we work with municipalities and they bring us the plastic and we collect the plastic with Zeloopian. and then we sort it and then sell it to recyclers. So here it's a bit of pilot where we even go further in the hands-on of curating the existing plastic.
It's a lot. I know that you guys are also on the Philanthro Investor platform. Are you
Yes.
still seeking investment, or are you guys fully raised? How's that working for you? How's that going?
Never fully raised. No, we definitely need more investors. At the moment, we are still a small team. We earn money with some different projects. We sell an engagement program for brands and so, or we do white labels. Nevertheless, some of the staff still have a job aside to pump from the company and support themselves.
Yes.
So, but that obviously it's good because we are very sober on the run. But on the other hand, those who are not full-time don't deliver full-time either. So we need to have a bit more staff to be permanently on the project. You see that we have already a network of representatives and so on, and we could go beyond and scale up. And obviously to scale up, you need fund. So yes, we do raise, and we have through financial investor raise. We are going to introduce some fundraising using NFT probably in the Q1. So it's work in progress. We found a partner that can bring us some platform support. So we want to explore that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the way.
Okay. So, is there, whenever I have somebody who's coming in and thinking about investing in something, we want to always understand what the exit strategy for the company is. Is Zeloop, are you looking to potentially at some point in the distant future, we're not talking about anytime soon, you guys, to have it acquired, to just make it bigger by acquiring more and more and more? I mean, this is a worldwide company. Do you have a thought process on what that is and the time frame? So investors, anybody sitting out there thinking about investing, they're going to think, what's my return going to be? How's that ever going to happen?
Absolutely. So I must say, we 2023, we wanted to raise more, and it was a bit of winter on investment also that had a bit slowed down our plan, but we have given a focus on the platform, getting more white labels, which can bring also recurrent revenue, ramping up Nigeria because we have a new program on that, and ramping up Argentina. So we still want to grow structure and so on. After, I believe that if you really want to get to make an impact, because at the moment we are still a drop in the ocean of the problem, we have to scale up much larger. So within, I would say, 5 years, then we need to accept, to dilute and being taken over by a more wider structure to really that competent leap and get affected. It's still a long road to go. Now, for the investor, what is interesting is that we have emitted token, and 48% of the token are distributed free to the ecosystem. We have kept 10% of the token as a reserve fund for the company. So it's not accessible for the investor. Nevertheless, it's part of the valuation of the company. When you invest in a startup, the only source of valuation is obviously the value of the company, assets, turnover, and so on. Here, we have another contributor to the asset is the value of the token. So that can be a good leverage that after can help also a good return for investors.
Got it. So we're going to let you go. Anybody interested in reaching out to you or Zeloop, what's the best way for that to happen?
I think the best way is on my name here, www.erics360.com. And there you will have all my contact details, white label, the white paper about Zeloop, presentation, links to our different websites, to our social media and so on. So that will be the most complete collection point.
Perfect. And that will be in the show notes, everybody, because I know you're not sitting down with a pen and paper right now, writing that down. And then if you're interested, anybody out there interested in learning more on the investor side, go to my website, go to moneywithmission.com. And there is actually a tab for Philanthro Investor. You'll fill in some work and we'll get on a call together and learn more about Zeloop and what that investment looks like and all the other things under the umbrella of the Philanthro Investor. True things that are having a social impact. There's nothing better than getting the plastic out of the world, right? Getting the plastic off of the earth, not not using it anymore, but making sure it doesn't get to places it doesn't belong. That's what Zeloop is trying to do. I appreciate it so much, Eric. Thank you so much for coming in, explaining it. I love it. I love it. Plastic, blockchain, cryptocurrency, all the stuff I'm real passionate about these days.
That's very good. Thanks a lot for giving us that chance to expose our projects and so on. And those who are watching us, yes, you can join us investing, supporting. And if not, you can just do things for the planet, things about sobriety, think about putting any consumable, recyclables in the right place and never in nature. And if you see things that other people have unfortunately littered, don't just walk past. We all do that. Sometimes you don't have time. You don't have the gloves and so on. But sometimes also just take it. Yes, it's not your fault. It's not your own litter. We have only two options. We just close our eyes, say, no, it's not mine. And tomorrow we live in a bin, in a trash, in a landfill, all of us. Or we do an effort and we can still have a nice nature around us. So it's a choice.
There's plenty of things that aren't our fault, but become our responsibility. So take care of it.
Absolutely.
Pick it up. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eric. We'll see you
Thank you
guys
very
next
much.
time.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.